Where and when was the Grand League of
Yeah.
the American Horseshoe Pitchers Association formed? The Grand League. A, in the First District Courtroom in Kansas City, 1914. B, in the Antioch VFW Post 4551, Antioch, Illinois, in 1909. C, at the Belmont Country Club, Belmont, Massachusetts, 1917. Or D, the Rolling Green Golf Club, Springfield, PA, 1925. To protect its national treasure, China restricted foreigners to a few coastal ports and banned them from entering the interior where the tea was grown. Think of it as the world's first employee-only sign. Imagine if Coke had its own country on the other side of the world just to protect the secret formula. Ha ha, fuck you, Shasta.
Meanwhile, Anheuser-Busch retired the character in 1989 amid pressure from advocacy groups criticizing the campaign for allegedly marketing the alcohol to children. I want to know what toddler saw a Bud Light ad with a partying dog and thought, forget about the animal crackers. After the day I had, I'm cracking a cold one.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
First of all, I know what you're all thinking. There's something is different about Mark, right? Well, here it is. Look at this cool satanic ring I got. Can we get a close up on this? Pretty badass. So, really proud of this one. Hail Satan. So,
So it's official Maryland says I day, so I had to make air fryer crab cakes. Uh,
yes, it's 4th of July. Maryland says yay.
says yay. And I put a little jalapeno and onion in our crab
It's
cake
fantastic.
just to make a Marchman crab cake.
It's such a Maryland thing. So, which brings us to our first discussion, the malt of the earth.
Beer marketing is a curious pastime, don't you think? So many strange, half-baked ideas for beer ad campaigns over the years. One of the earliest ones I remember was the Budweiser ad with the Clydesdales pulling the wagon. Picturesque, yes, but looking back, I wonder what the significance of the horses were. Is that the means of delivering the beer? How are you going to stock 296 7-Eleven stores across the country with 4 horses?
I mean, the Clydesdales are magnificent animals, but as a distribution strategy, Rosebud and Kingmaker managed to get 8 cases delivered yesterday, only 640,000 more to go. I mean, maybe apples and oats are cheaper than like gasoline, but still there would be problems. Can you imagine the driver calling dispatch? Yeah, Snowball threw a shoe outside Des Moines. Randy's looking for a blacksmith. Tell Harris Teeter and Rural Farms will be about 4 days behind schedule.
Then Bud Light came along and abandoned sophistication altogether with "What's up?"
What's up?
It wasn't really a beer commercial. It was a documentary about 4 guys who had absolutely no intention of accomplishing anything that Sunday. They're watching football, yelling nonsense into the phone. The grass is knee high. The garage door has been broken since Memorial Day. And somehow every conversation consists of exactly what's one word.
What's up?
It's the rally call of people who've been putting off doing laundry since the Reagan administration. Drunk and stupid and dirty sweats and a net t-shirt, and that's our target audience.
There was this old ad when I was a boy. I should be able to lace in the video for it. It was for Natural Light, the beer with the taste for food. So this guy's like steaming these huge shrimp, grilling his big steaks, cooking up big racks of ribs, chopping up veggies. I think I have a new interpretation. If you've blown all your money on jumbo scallops, milk-fed veal, and imported lobster, you probably can't afford more than $10 to $12 for beer. And that's about what a case of Natural Light costs. So good luck checking under the sofa cushions for loose change. Even weirder, back in the 90s, Molson had these really weird like radio ads. Basically, it centered around the dude who had unusual taste in beer and he used it to pick up chicks. He'd be chatting up a chick at the bar. Yeah, I don't drink that Euro beer, buck a bottle stuff. I drink Molson Golden, imported from Canada. And the chick would giggle and then say something ridiculous like, how interesting. Would you like the key to my apartment? Seriously, all I have to do is order this Canadian beer and I'll get laid? Well, God bless the Canucks.
I thought ads for the Schlitz malt liquor bull were cool when I was a kid. But looking back, what was the thinking? You want a beer that when you order it, instant stampede? What happens when Applebee's decides to sue for punitive damages?
Punitive damages here.
Every year we get the Christmas time Corona ads with a gorgeous view of the beach and the tropical palm that lights up Feliz Navidad. This doesn't make me crave a beer. It pisses me off that I have 6 inches of ice on my car and this dude is hanging Christmas lights on a palm tree.
This was so impressive, right? Back when I was 13, I'll lace in some of the audio, right? Dio did a Budweiser commercial. And I mean like Holy Diver era Dio. It was great. They only played it at night, but basically he took the music from Rainbow in the Dark and he rewrote it slightly for This Bud's for You. Dio was so cool. Here's a little bit of it. How about Michelob Ultra commercials? Ripped, studly men and muscular, curvy women challenging each other to alpine skiing or kickboxing tournaments, and the winner gets a crappy 4% ABV beer? It might as well be, I'll play you for an Evian. After exercise, I want some real beer with all the numbing agents, not an excuse to run to the restroom 47 times.
I always thought they should have gotten the guy that played Norm Peterson on Cheers to do beer ads. I mean, that show was hugely popular and he always had a beer in his hand. I guess it just wasn't as creative as charging bulls and giant Clydesdales. Then there's Carlsberg with perhaps my favorite slogan of all time. Probably the best beer in the world. Probably? That said with a lot of ringing endorsement. Imagine if other companies used this phrase. Probably the safest airline in the world. Probably the best surgeon in town. This sunblock will, probably work.
It's a commercial where the legal department clearly won the argument. The marketing team wanted the best beer in the world, but alas, in the end, never mind taste. This is the beer that avoids litigation. Coors had always latched itself onto this idea that their beer is all made from pristine Rocky Mountain water. Every commercial makes it look like cowboys are collecting the water from snow-capped mountains at dawn. They even stamp "Born in the Rockies" on each can. However, fact check, a lot of Coors isn't actually brewed in Colorado anymore. There are several U.S. plants these days. In fact, some people sued because they thought every can should provide a Rocky Mountain high. The courts basically said, relax, it's branding, not a certified ingredient list. Who are these people suing? That's like a lawsuit after finding out Hawaiian Punch wasn't produced fresh in Honolulu.
Then Coors rolled out those cans with a little optimum cold temperature indicator. Turns blue at its optimal drinking temperature. I remember thinking, really? It's not a Thanksgiving turkey. How about this? Does it feel cold? Congratulations, the diagnostic test is complete. Even in my 20s, I remember thinking, they're officially running out of ideas. Why not put a steering wheel on a banana while you're at it?
But it did spawn the whole mysterious ice beer phenomenon. Soon everybody had one. Natural Ice, Bud Ice, Molson Ice, Ice House, even Milwaukee's Best had an ice version. I guess the ice makes people think of an icy cold draft beer. Does anybody actually drink this stuff? And what happens if you buy it warm? Does that ruin the magic somehow? Does it become room temperature ice? Is there a support hotline? Hi, my ice beer hit 74 degrees in the trunk. What do I do now? An actual ice beer is the German Eisbock that is made by freezing the beer, removing some of the ice, concentrating the flavor and alcohol into something rich, malty, and usually between 9 and 14% ABV. The US version is 5.9% and devoid of taste. American breweries looked at that centuries-old brewing technique and went, sounds complicated. What if we just put the word ice on the label and skip everything else? Very American.
Back in the 80s, none of us questioned the whole Spuds McKenzie thing. I suppose he is the original party animal. A dog so cool and laid back, he's got to wear sunglasses. Again, we are supposed to believe that we should drink this beer because a bull terrier surrounded by swimsuit models enjoys it, lounging by a pool like Hugh Hefner. Honestly, I can never remember him holding a beer. Meanwhile, Anheuser-Busch retired the character in 1989 amid pressure from advocacy groups criticizing the campaign for allegedly marketing the alcohol to children. I want to know what toddler saw a Bud Light ad with a partying dog and thought, forget about the animal crackers. After the day I had, I'm cracking a cold one.
Okay, you want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is Tom, Dave, Andy, and Lindsay of the Scottish doom punk spoken word band Gutterblood. We enjoy a great discussion with this amazing new band that covers everything from the evolution of the band's lineup to the shortcomings of the healthcare system to favorite breakfast foods and much more. So stay tuned for that.
All right, let's get this going. This song is called Good Dogs Will Never Die.
Tommy's got a gun. Good dogs will never die. And Tommy's on the run. The kids need a new hero. And Tommy's got a gun. Good dogs will never die. Tommy shoots for fun.
Okay, let's talk about Hope for the Day. Hope for the Day is a wonderful charity dedicated to suicide prevention through community support and wellness. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death across all ages, yet it is also preventable. With the right support, resources, and community, lives can be saved.
So I'm watching Instagram videos, and this one keeps coming up. It's these super hot 20-something models, and at first they're in their underwear, and then they slowly don their brand name outfits, real fancy, and then they stroll out onto a cobblestone street somewhere, right? This is not how life is, people. Half the time with me, I'm stumbling out the door in a shirt that looks like I slept in it. I got a cup of hot water because I forgot to put coffee in the coffee. And then I put it on top of the car to get in, and then I forget that it's there and drive off. So that's a normal morning.
If you think anyone has ever been in a dark, lonely place where you feel all hope is lost, please visit the link in the show notes. And remember, take advantage of the resources Hope for the Day has to offer. And always remember, this world really is a better place because you are in it.
And speaking of spilled coffee, I think it's time. Hit it.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
All right, I'm proud of these. I think
Disclaimer.
I'm back on track this week. I think this is really going. Okay, next trivia. Question number 1. Where and when was the Grand League of the American Horseshoe Pitchers Association formed? The Grand League. A, in the First District Courtroom in Kansas City, 1914. B, in the Antioch VFW Post 4551, Antioch, Illinois, in 1909. C, at the Belmont Country Club, Belmont, Massachusetts, 1917. Or D, the Rolling Green Golf Club, Springfield, PA, 1925.
To go with horseshoes being a very blue collar and not an upper class thing. So I'm going to rule out both of the country and golf clubs, and I'm going to take B, the VFW Post.
Sorry, that's incorrect. It was actually in the courtroom in Kansas City. I
Right.
don't know how they did that. Maybe there were a bunch of legislators that like banging horseshoes, but yeah, it was at the First District Courtroom. Yeah.
Maybe they had a lot of spare horseshoes.
Yeah, I tried to think of what are places where they would do something so ridiculous. Golf clubs, country clubs, yeah, that sort of thing. So, but good guess though. Okay, number 2. Which of the following is an actual product recall by the Consumer Product Safety Commission? A, the Spirit 500 propane grill in 1973. B, the New York City School District's Don't Do Drugs pencil in 1998. C, El Diablo candy cigarillos in 1979. Or D, the Cedar pattern axe in 1930. Product recall for safety.
I've never heard of a Spirit propane grill. I don't know why you would have to recall pencils unless there was something wrong with the lead. 1998 seems like a very late period for lead pencils. I'll go with the Cedar pattern axe, 1930.
Incorrect, I'm sorry. There was an axe that was recalled for flying off the handle, right? But it was actually the pencils. And the reason why they were recalled was because if you sharpen them down, they said do drugs. If you lost the don't, people got pissed. I don't know. So,
I
isn't that
guess I didn't think
crazy?
about that.
Okay, number three. Which country brought home the bronze Olympic medal for tug of war in 1920?
Tug of war is an Olympic event.
It
And
was
when?
then A, Great Britain, B, Sweden, C, Belgium, or D, the United States. Tug of war.
All right, and this is bronze. So I'm going to assume like Sweden won it or something, because that seems like something Sweden would do. And I'm going to assume it wasn't the United States, because I can't imagine. I don't know why. I'll go with Great Britain.
Sorry, I didn't correct. It was Belgium.
Belgium.
Now, I'll tell you what, I went down a tug of war rabbit hole. The Olympics were one thing. It was only Olympic sport for like 10 years. But there is a website called Tug of War Fatalities, and there were some. It seems like every time a group of people would get together to try to break the Guinness Book of World Records for tug of war and put like 650 people into it, and people's fingers got ripped off, people's hands got ripped off, there were deaths. It's dark shit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When that rope snaps, all hell breaks loose.
I thought
Now, I don't recommend it. And so I was like, oh, let's go to the Olympics. This is much lighter fare
that,
than fingers being ripped out.
the darkest part about tug of war was Squid Games. They used to make us do that in gym sometimes. I used to get rug burn and like rope burn.
This is worse than Squid Games. So
And I thought that was distasteful.
anyway, okay. So number four, which of the following songs is actually written about a cat?
God.
A. Maggio by Frank Zappa, 1983. B. Funk Number 49 by James Gang, 1970. C. Lucifer Sam by Pink Floyd in 1967. Or D. Sassy by the Manhattan Transfer, 1991.
All very plausible. Zappa seems like he could be a cat guy. Funk number 49 doesn't sound like it's a cat name. No.
That's a great album, though.
All right, I'll go with Sassy by the Manhattan Transfer. That sounds like it could be a calico.
You are 0 for 4. Although that does sound like something your parents would have liked. Sassy by the Manhattan
Yeah,
Transfer.
yeah.
On cleaning day or whatever. No, it's actually Lucifer Sam. That was the name. That was Sid Barrett's cat's name.
I thought
Yeah.
you were trying to throw me off because Lucifer was Cinderella's cat's name.
You know, like it's 1967. Like I used to have I might still have it. Piper at the Gates of Dawn when Sid Barrett was still alive. Pink Floyd was not like it was not comfortably numb. It was more like kind of like garage rock type of thing. Yeah, paisleys and cravats and all that stuff, you know. So they were almost like a Nuggets band. Anyway, I've redeemed myself officially for my shitty performance last week on Obnoxious Trivia, and I didn't lose it once. That's the key.
There was no
Make it
giggles.
funny, but don't make it where you can't even get through reading it. That's the problem. Anyway, okay, this has been Obnoxious Trivia. Okay, it's time for our Snaggletooth, and this one's called
Britain goes teabagging. In the 1840s, Britain had a serious problem. The entire country was addicted to tea. Tea at breakfast, tea at lunch, tea in the afternoon, tea because we got a promotion, tea because we didn't get a promotion, tea because the town is overrun by aardvarks. You get the idea. The problem is that China had a monopoly on tea production and would only accept payment in silver, which bordered on extortion. Britain was essentially sending boatloads of money overseas for tea, which is like paying your podiatrist with pallets of dollar bills. Not very convenient.
To protect its national treasure, China restricted foreigners to a few coastal ports and banned them from entering the interior where the tea was grown. Think of it as the world's first employee-only sign. Imagine if Coke had its own country on the other side of the world just to protect the secret formula. Ha, fuck you, Shasta. Britain decided the solution was simple: grow tea in India. Unfortunately, previous attempts had spectacularly failed because they lacked quality plants, proper seeds, experienced workers, and all the agricultural know-how. There was no internet, no YouTube tutorials, and no guy named Chad posting tea growing secrets they don't want you to know.
So in 1848, the British East India Company decided, like most problems, this one could be solved with espionage. They hired a plant hunter named Robert Fortune. And when I say plant hunter, I don't mean he wandered around garden centers looking for a sale on hydrangeas. This man was basically James Bond if Q Branch supplied terraniums and Miracle-Gro. The plan? Sneak into forbidden Chinese tea country and steal the entire industry.
To blend in, Fortune shaved the front of his head and attached a braided queue and dressed in Chinese traditional clothing. A British guy with glue-on braid? Brilliant disguise if somewhat low-rent Confucius from the Halloween clearance rack. However, to everyone's surprise, they bought it. Hook, line, and shaved head. Fortune traveled under the name Xinghua, posing as a wealthy merchant from a distant province. No surviving records mention how he handled the accent. I'd like to imagine every conversation began, "Greetings, fellow Chinese citizen. Which province are you from, sir?" A rich one. Anyway, I have 3,000 questions about tea growing. Surprisingly, no one found this suspicious. Accompanied by local guides, Fortune infiltrated the heavily guarded tea regions of the Huiyue Mountains and Anhai Province, hoping his braid didn't fall off. Over the next 3 years, Fortune collected more than 20,000 tea plants and seedlings without anyone noticing.
Then Fortune took things to another level. He recruited experienced Chinese tea makers and laborers to move to India and run the plantations. Stealing the plants was bold and stealing the instruction manual was clever, but how do you discreetly steal the workforce too? That's the equivalent of leaving a restaurant with the inventory, the chef, and half the waitstaff. The tea plants thrived in Assam and Darjeeling as China's monopoly began to crumble. Now Britain suddenly had its own supply. Forget trying to save up silver. Tea became dramatically cheaper and eventually transformed from a luxury enjoyed by the wealthy into an everyday drink consumed by, well, everyday Joes.
So next time you're drinking a cup of tea, remember, one of history's most successful infiltrations was in fact a rather half-baked disguise behind enemy lines. And somehow, nobody's internal alarm system ever went, you know, the mysterious foreign merchant who keeps asking detailed questions about our tea empire might be up to something. The Chinese workers seem more than happy to, well, spill the tea. Sorry. Why did anyone need to know that? Why did anyone need to know this? This is appalling. Let's play a song. This is Blue Flash Fantastic.
The gas clicks off, no money in the meter. The baby's crying, there's mould on the walls. She's missed her meeting. Sanction for Calpol. If the lecky goes out, she's totally fucked. She's by herself, nobody to trust. The lights...
Perfect.
Okay. All right, let's talk about imperfect foods.
As well as a grocery service that ships things to your house, has also become for us because, as I've learned, groceries are very regionalized across the country. We find stuff at Imperfect that you might not be able to find at your local grocery store. We got the spicy mustard we're addicted to, but check this out. I went to buy it through the company's website. It's actually cheaper to buy it through Imperfect.
Right.
So we got our resupply of that this week. It's
What are those brats upstairs that I keep forgetting to eat? Where are they?
Those are some chorizo sausage, fully cooked.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a frozen line now, so I took advantage of that. I got you some breakfast sandwiches.
All
Some-
kinds of variety. Duck eggs. I mean,
Duck
where else? You know, go try to find that at your local Weiss. You know.
They have drinks that we've been unable to duplicate, like those
Mexican soda.
Mexican soda that they have, which was very
Jalapeno soda. Yeah.
Yeah, I finally
Was it
found
jalapeno watermelon? Or something?
jalapeno watermelon.
It's great.
Really different. They do have it on Amazon, but again, it's rather pricey on Amazon.
Right.
I bought it one time; they had a sale.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can discover a whole new world like ground lamb. I mean, that's kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
They have these little shrimp that I like. It's super easy to throw in the air fryer, make into a warm shrimp salad. Delectable.
Yeah.
Even with that, they have wines now. They even have a whole pet line now.
Wow.
If you haven't pampered your pets enough, they've got simple things like pantry staples to the more exotic things we've been talking about. If you're not sure what's right for you, get over to their website. They have all kinds of fruit, produce, and bakery items.
Yeah, you can spend hours on their website. It's great. Yeah.
And it all gets shipped free. Oh, not. If you buy over $65, it ships free to your door. You can choose to tip your driver, which is good if you've ordered eggs. I would recommend it.
Yep.
Anyway, use our link. It will save you off your first order.
Okay, great. It is time. Getting haywire again this week. This week we're going to talk about what?
Billy Bio. Dialectics of Shit, 2008. What's your personal threshold when it comes to chaos? Crazy people, ridiculous situations, stormy environments, all of the above? That sounds like my job.
Yes.
Raising children will up your propensity for dealing with chaos. In fact, there were days when my kids were little, I got off work early, nobody in the house but me. The absence of dogs barking, spouse yelling, kids screaming, "Get off my popcorn!" It felt eerie and unusual.
But the most chaotic environment I ever experienced was working for a grocery distributor in my late 20s. Pre-internet, phones ringing off the hook, truck drivers arguing, warehouse workers getting into fistfights. The job was so stressful. If we found out that a delivery was refused or a driver was late, we would slam the phone down in anger on a regular basis. Well, of course, after a while, the phones couldn't take the abuse, and you had to yell into them for the other person on the other line to hear you. Finally, we just get upset and we just rip the phone out of the wall and we throw it into a pile of broken telephony. I love that word. Broken phones were in a pile in the corner of the office.
Yeah, now all you can do is go, "Doop."
Yep. One time, my coworker found out about a refused delivery and he just picked up his keyboard and threw it across the room. It exploded into 100 pieces, right? So I came in the next morning and he was trying to put the keys back in where they go, but he couldn't because he never learned to type.
Few musical acts thrive in chaos better than the entity known as Billy Bayo, the noise rock vocalist that migrated from Nigeria to Bilbao, Spain several decades ago, and immediately went about forming a band of like-minded freaks to help him profane sides of vinyl with a unique combination of harsh noise, punk rock grooves, loping bass workouts, and disgustipated vocals. The album consists of 10 segments in over 27 minutes. I think Bayo would agree, you can't call all of them songs. It's vicious, challenging listen that represents almost perfectly what quality noise punk should deliver. Just the right combination of hypnotic grooves, out-to-lunch freakouts, and hateful lyrics, and all of it recorded with the Oblivion's-friendly approach of 2 guitars, a drummer, and no bass.
Factory of Repression does a lot with a little, bouncing out of the gate with a wall of guitar noise that eventually collides with a mid-tempo groove courtesy of drummer Alberto Lopez. The subsequent riff ratty and full of guts like Josh Homme rocking at the bottom of a concrete sewer. Lyrics are sparse, as are the feedback squalls and senseless slashes of an occasional second guitar. Give me culture and I will shit on your nation. Factory of Repression. Tight Ass Bleeds is even darker. The clanging drums and bass-heavy riffing recalling prime Brain Bombs material as Bayo delivers a near-spoken word first-person account of a child molester / serial killer in the red light district of Bilbao, ending with the chilling lyric, "Sometimes they cry, under the moonlight, their tight ass bleeds." Let's hear a little.
I Am a Mirror, Putrefied Egos, crawls along at a sub-flipper tempo, drums lurching forward and falling away in support of another wounded bit of slow slash from guitarist Matan. By the second half of the track, chaos has come to our door, both guitars playing totally different noise workouts, scraping and wailing. Bayo muttering incomprehensibly like a homeless person slumped over in the corner. Finally, there's a sunshiny, "My life is shit," a combination of simplistic battering percussion from Lopez and primitive bare light bulb guitar burbles from Matan. Lyrically, things aren't getting any brighter for Bayo. Just drink, fuck, sleep, and get killed by a system that only wants you as a working corpse. Gosh, I was with them for the first 3, but that last one kind of threw me personally.
As you may have surmised by now, this is not a gateway drug into the noise rock subgenre. In fact, some parts of it are bleak enough to make Rudimentary Penny sound like ABBA. But if you're a fan of any of the aforementioned bands and looking for something dark, challenging, and full of mesmerizing grooves, exploring some of the Bayo albums may be just your thing. At any rate, Check it out, and don't yell at your daughter for trying to dry her stuffed animal in the microwave. I mean, this is why we invest in fire extinguishers, no? Let's hear a little Factory of Repression.
Give me one kind education. Give me count and civilization. Give me culture.
Okay, what did you see, interview?
This was our long-awaited interview with Gutterblood. It was everything I thought it would be. I was so taken with this album and these fine folks. It's hard to find people who are willing to be political in this age of
Correctness. Yeah,
correctness, but they have a lot of hard opinions, and I love it.
that's right. It's a great, great interview. Take it away.
So I have to commend you for this album. It's so different and it's so unlike everything else. And Mark always says, you know, where's the anger at what's happening around us today? And there are bands who are angry because of interpersonal relationships or, you know, but you guys are angry at lots of things, and I think more people should be.
Right. Yeah. We recommended you guys to a lot of people. We did. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
if you guys kind of want to go around, introduce yourself and say how you got in the band and what's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I go first.
Go for
You
it.
go first.
I'm not actually a founding member.
Okay.
I was kindly invited along by Bob, and the boys obviously fell in love with me. And they were like, "Oh, who's this wee eclectic 80s throwback?" And it's like, me. So my name's Lindsay, and I'm not actually part of the band. I'm just being kindly invited along to you know, enjoy them, make some noise.
And what do you like for breakfast?
Oh, what do I like for? Okay. Right. How do I reveal this without sounding like I might eat edibles or something? What do I like for breakfast? Morel mushrooms.
That's a good start
Okay.
to the day.
Okay.
Morel.
With clarified butter, I might add. Yeah,
The
man.
drizzle
That
of
and
brown
some bread,
sauce.
maybe, I don't know. I'm too posh for breakfast. I'm making shit up now. I'm so sorry. I don't eat breakfast. I'm a skipper. I skip breakfast. I'm a faster.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're pretty
Yeah.
much coffee, and we usually eat around 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah. So just wake and bake with a nice good cup of coffee, and then maybe
Right.
think about lunch.
So who's next?
Who's next?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next. I'll go
Okay.
next then.
Yeah.
My name is Dave. I play guitar, and I'm pretty much just in the band because Andy was kind enough to ask me, and it's been great. I've got to say, it's definitely the right decision in joining this band. It's been fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Breakfast, I don't really have breakfast. Black coffee, really. But if I'm
good
going
enough.
out on a bike ride, I will have porridge. Being a Scotsman as I am, I will have
Okay.
porridge, and that's it.
I like that. Very, very, very Charles
Is that
Dickens.
full? There.
Very Charles Dickens.
That's what I'm aiming for. Every day I'm like Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're close to the South, so we do grits here, and I put jalapenos and cheese and everything in those things.
That's
Oh,
true.
nice.
That's the only way to do grits.
Wow. Is grits like porridge, I take it?
It is. It's a corn product, but I like we make it with, I boil it and I add some garlic salt and some butter, and then I throw in
Wow.
sometimes onions, jalapeno. Definitely, you got to whirl in that cheese at the end.
Let's start calling it porridge. I like porridge. Let's just call it porridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to the
But
oats.
that's only a weekend thing. During the week, we gotta go.
Yeah.
All right. Who
Okay.
wants to go?
Who's next?
Do we have?
Yeah,
You,
I'll-
Andy, who's going? On you go.
I'm Andy. I guess I'm the only original guy in the band, so I don't know what that says about me. But and always have whiskey and haggis for breakfast.
Wow.
Sets me up.
Now that's very
Yeah,
Highlander there.
I'm not actually a breakfast guy. I'm kind of just usually a coffee and then
Yeah.
something for lunch. Uh, yeah, and yeah, so it's been great. We've been around since I don't know just actually before the pandemic started,
Okay.
and then we were kind of just getting a wee demo together. And Tommy, that's might join us. He's got a recording studio in Glasgow, so we decided just to kind of knock a demo together, and then it kind of sounded all right. So we thought we'll just kind of add layers to it as we went along, and we didn't really have any vocals in mind. It was just kind of like a three-piece instrumental, a bit kind of doomy sort of angle on stuff. And then we kind of thought there's a few folk I knew in the scene, a guy called Nori who came in and did some spoken word. So we just kind of we always wanted to do something different. And I think it is different, but whether it's good or not, that's up to the listener. Though. So yeah.
No, sir, you are the master of those bass lines that get my hips moving every single time. You have
Brilliant.
Hey, man. Andy's the man.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. The OG.
Yeah. And then we got one more. One more.
I'm Tom. I do the vocals. I came in to do. Andy asked me to come and do vocals on Hard Gandhi. So I came in to do that, and then we decided to make the difficult second album. And yeah, it's been great. Oh, right, Nuala, you can behave. Sorry, that's my dog shouting at everybody. And
Okay.
for breakfast, I'm a chef, so I've had 9 espressos before 9 o'clock in the morning.
There's a theme here, man.
That's what sets me up for the day.
How is this band working? Well, we all drink coffee for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting the cereal business out of business between all of us. I remember the last time I had like a box of Cheerios.
Yeah.
All right, so getting back to you guys, I love the term Gutterblood. It intricately adduces ideas about class, lineage, and other that people in society are disposable. When you chose that name, was it intended to be a statement from day one, or does it mean something different to you?
So what happened?
So I was visiting my friend at the mental ward at Hopkins. It was freaky. I could hear like all kinds of people through the walls, babbling and screaming.
I can imagine, yeah.
So I went to use the restroom, and I guess I made a wrong turn, and the next thing I know, I went back and the door was locked. So I banged on the door, and here comes this orderly.
Did he help you?
I tried to explain that I was just visiting, but he didn't believe me. He just kind of took me by the shoulders and said, "I think we need to get you back to your room."
Oh, dear.
Well, it ended up... Oh, hi.
Hi. We know you're here for our epic discussion with Gutterblood, and it's a great one. But just a quick aside, because we do interviews like this every week here at Snaggletooth. Like our epic chat with Sammytown from Fang that offers a ton of punk rock wisdom, a ton of laughs, and we even find out who came up with the phrase, "Fang, we are cool, give us money."
Or our amazing exchange with Piper Ferrari from Roman Candle that covers everything from feminist crowd surfing to public urinating. So don't forget to subscribe today so you never miss another Mark and Stace interview. And now, back to Gutterblood.
I guess it was there's two sides to the name actually, because I live down where Tom lives in a wee town outside Edinburgh called Peebles. So I was living down there for a few years. And so the two guys that Brian and Aj that I started the band with, we were kind of, it was usual, like, you know, looking up dictionaries and kind of waiting on a page and hoping to come across a good name. But then I was kind of thinking, well, so that there's a term, Tom will tell you more about this, but there's a term for folk that are kind of born and bred in Peebles, and it's called Gutterblood. I think is it spelled Bluid, like
Yeah,
gutter
it
blood?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. But then after we kind of looked into it a bit more, and it's actually a term in Edinburgh that a Walter Scott, who was a famous author, who used that as a term for the kind of the folk on the street. So in Edinburgh's High Street, you had a big difference in class, you know. So you had a lot of folk that there was a real mix of people that lived alongside each other. And Edinburgh as well. So you had this group called the Edinburgh Mob who would protest a lot of issues of the day, and there was a lot of rioting and stuff on the street. So they were called gutter bloods. So basically, it was like killing two birds. Like it just seemed like the perfect name for it, really. And that's the story.
Yeah.
Yay!
So the gutter blood in Peebles is as Andy says, you're born and you're bred here. So I am a gutter blood in that term. But there's also an opposite. There's also an opposite to that, which is a stoury foot.
Is what I
which means which is what you are, Andy. So that means that you've arrived in a town, and stour means dust. So you've got dust on your feet from walking in, and that's what you're called, a stoury foot.
Wow. There you go. I didn't know that. That's cool.
We were always
Every
born and
day's a
bred in
school day.
Baltimore, so I guess we're.
It's sort of like in Maryland, the state we're from in Maryland, we have more rural side where all the cornfields and the beaches are is the eastern shore of Maryland, and it's very remote,
by the
right?
ocean.
By the ocean, right? And when you go over there, the people, everyone else is
a tourist.
He's on the Western Shore. He was Western Shore. Like they really pride themselves on being born on the Eastern Shore, you know. And when you hear them talk, there's clearly a line where they're like, "Well, he's okay for a Western Shore," you know.
Oh,
I think the same thing happened in Peebles,
Yeah.
I stay out in Livingston, and they call folk through here Livy scum, which sounds really detrimental, but it's actually it started in the skate park. It started with all the skaters and boarders and stuff like that. Kind of they knew that the parents and everyone didn't like us all having a smoke down at the skate park, so we were considered scum. So a few skaters just decided to adopt it and took the Livy scum, and they just made loads of money out of it. Took it over to the States and stuff like that. It was great. So everyone thinks this is like a nice tag, but it was the parents trying to condemn us from being cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
Typical, isn't
it? We get people affectionately all call Baltimore people Baltimoreans, so you know
that.
Yeah. Lovely term.
Sometimes they're right. Yeah.
See, over in Scotland, if we don't like somebody, we just use the C word. There's going to be loads of people watching this recording like, this C word.
We also say if we like someone, we use the same word.
But we tell them they're good beforehand. You're a good C word.
It's affectionate term.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love how this is kind of a fluid band with kind of different collaborators kind of coming in and out. Was that always the design that you had in mind, or did it just kind of evolve that way?
I think, as I was saying at the start, I think we did kind of from memory. I think we did sort of talk about fairly early on getting people in, especially on the vocals. So I think in previous bands, like I've been in, I play in a punk band as well, but in the past I played in kind of hardcore bands and all that, and I think because especially in hardcore, the vocals are very sort of defining, do you know what I mean, to your sound. And I think we kind of felt if we had something along those lines, for example, we would be kind of tied to that sound musically as well. So really, I think because the pandemic hit, in a way, it was like, let's just get folk in to add layers and try and make it a wee bit of a story almost throughout the album. And then it kind of worked because I don't know, that it just feels like we don't really have any limits to what we can do musically, and it's almost like there's a narrative that goes through it, and the music sort of backs up that. I hate to use the word story, but yeah, like a journey almost, you know. And so, like even on the first album, we do actually have a kind of my mate Gav came in and did some kind of grindy vocals and stuff. And that kind of fitted the theme of that song, or you know, that part of the album. So I guess that's sort of always been the idea in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like you said, it leaves things so open. Now, I
Yeah.
was reading that you guys did the cover art in-house. Who's the artist behind that, and what kind of? It almost looks like a guy on a motorcycle about to jump like a
It's actually
fence
I
that
thought
has razor wire.
it's a real rip-off of The Great Escape.
I was just going to say that. It made me think of Steve McQueen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I suppose the idea was that in Edinburgh, it's become, I mean, you guys will know something probably, or you've heard something about Edinburgh. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful city, and the city centre's amazing to look at if you walk down the main street. You see the castle and all that, and so we're lucky in that way. But I think it's now become so kind of gentrified, but also right in the city centre, it's become like a real tourist sort of wonderland. So, you know, if you go to the high street where maybe 20 years ago you had a lot of local people that lived there, they've now all been kind of forced out of that area. And every, 5 out of 6 people are tourists that frequent that area, which is a shame because a lot of them don't really go beyond this kind of 1 mile stretch. So the idea was sort of behind that cover was that people from outside of the centre almost kind of jumping a bat, like it's almost like a barricade. So if you flip the other side of the album, it's got the kind of skyline of Edinburgh, and it's almost like this inaccessible kind of zone in a way. And the council in Edinburgh are very much kind of, most of their kind of decision making is based around tourism nowadays.
Right.
I say that, I don't mean in every aspect, but you know, in terms of the city centre and the well-being of it, I mean, it's all just kind of gift shops and
Right.
no soul to it anymore. So that was the kind of rough idea behind that. The first album, we got our mate Jerry to do the art on that. And yeah, I guess I've done a fair bit of that stuff over the piece, but probably would get someone else in at some point to do kind of collaborate and do something for us as well, because I've run out of ideas.
Yeah. You hear about that. That's a common, I've heard about that that Dublin is going through that. I know it's happening in certain towns on the West Coast here where you almost have to be wealthy to afford rent in the city.
Yeah.
All of the middle class has been chased to the suburbs almost.
Yeah.
Well, I should say, as a Gutterblood in Peebles, it's impossible for me to buy a property in my own town. So that's just what that's just what we've got to accept, that it's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. My daughter lived in Washington, D.C. in an apartment for a while with her boyfriend, and it was $4,000 a month. Which I
Wow.
thought was just.
Yeah, for rent.
And
Yeah.
he was there for like
Wow.
2 years before they finally moved back to Baltimore and bought a house. And I'm like, I mean, it was lovely, but really.
It wasn't a $4,000 a month lovely. No, it wasn't that.
Just the privilege to live in DC. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's like in London, you know, you're paying like 2 grand a month to, if you're lucky, to stay in a
Yeah.
kind of cupboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do
And
that in the
that's
centre of
that's
town.
not a big exaggeration, I would say.
Edinburgh's bad for it as well when the festival's on, when the fringe is on. And you've got a lot of people that own places in the grass market, and they will charge per week or per month just for people that are coming over for the fringe festival. And they make they're basically covering their mortgage for the rest of the year. And these people are just renting out. I saw one person that was renting out a 1-bedroom log conversion for 3.5 grand a month. And it's like, how can you justify that? And yet they can justify it because somebody will come in and they will be willing to pay that 3.5 grand a month.
Wow.
Like that's wild.
Yeah.
And that's without a grow.
It's crazy.
Just throw that in.
And I don't know if you have this here, but we have it in Baltimore where you'll have a very, very rich section of Baltimore butted up against a very poor section, like not, a half a mile away. It's crazy how we used to work very close to each other, but he worked in the cruddy area. But the only good part was I think you could get a sandwich for $5.
Right. Yeah. She was.
The sandwiches around where I work were 17. So
She was in the hoity-toity part of Baltimore. I was in the hood. So yeah.
Yeah. We've got that through. I think that's a running theme throughout the whole world. I think they do keep a class division. They do kind of make it obvious that, I have this amount of money and you have this amount of money. Now, the irony being that those that tend to live in the schemes that we would call it through here, like, the hood or whatever, like the schemes, they tend to be the ones that have more community. They're the ones that have more foresight and forethought for those around them. But in Britain and Scotland and things like that, even those sectors, the schemes are starting to turn on each other as well because everyone's pissed off. Nobody wants a tag anymore. Nobody wants to be told they're working class or they're middle class or classism shouldn't exist at all. The internet kind of emphasizes that further, that in order for you to have any acknowledgement or any reputation, you have to have some kind of qualification, or you've got to have some kind of job title, you've got to be in a certain area, and you've got to conduct yourself and look a certain way. And again, this is something that Andy and I were talking about when you go to see Gutterblood. And the band don't look how you expect them to sound. And I personally find that refreshing. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to work with them, because they don't sound how they look. There's an irony in that, which I think is very clever. It's keeping it real, and it's exactly how music should be presented without the glitz and the tags, I suppose. We could all be multimillionaires for all you know. We're not. But we could be.
Yeah. No, it's one of the things that we thought was so refreshing about the album is it's not chasing the algorithm. It's not everybody's dressed up like a squirrel or whatever the hell you see, like that. It's completely like, and there's like we said, there's tons of actual anger and political anger, and we review music every week. We don't have a Gutterblood come around very often. We really don't. So
wow,
thank you.
No, that's good to hear. That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
done, guys.
Yeah.
See, the mummy and me is like, oh, I'm so proud of you boys.
So I know I was talking about how I love how bass forward you are, and I'm frankly I'm happy sometimes with a band that's just bass and drums. It's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm a heavy doomy girl, but I love the guitar tones that you bring to this, Dave. I love it sometimes that it sounds like an industrial saw. Is that something you designed for this band, or did you have any influence with the Gin Goblins, or is it totally separate?
Well, I think that this time I actually thought I'm going to go by what people suggest rather than what I want, because everything I've done up to now has been how I want it to be. So it's been really interesting doing it in a way of, if somebody suggests something, it's like, yeah, let's just do it. I mean, in all honesty, some of the guitar sounds I don't really like on the album. Every time I hear it, I'm like, nah. But then I'm like, no, it's part of the band, part of the album. Whether I like it or not actually comes second, which I don't think will be repeated again in the future, let me say. But no, I thought it was really refreshing to do it that way, and have a lot of variation. So I think, as much as I don't like some of the guitar sounds, I think it works really well. So that's what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, it
So
definitely has some unique tones. I don't know how you make all those sounds happen. Like sometimes, like I said, it's like a circular saw to like a buzzing angry bee. It's all over the place and it's all really good.
well, the guy we recorded the album with, Rod, was really good. He was sort of quite open to anything, and I really enjoyed the recording actually, which is quite unusual because it was a case of it was just me and him for a chunk of the time, and it was like, let's just try different things, and if it works, it works. So, there was a whole load of different sounds and ideas, and then it sort of gets piled in, and what lasts sort of people's sort of hearing it, what gets through the other people's sort of opinions on it is how it ends up. Live, I think, is a kind of different thing to what the album was. Very, very, very difficult to do, but interesting. Very interesting. And variation is good, Can't have too much variation.
Yeah.
I also think it shows what strong musicianship you have on a song like Soliloquy, which is total instrumental. I love that you chose that for the title, even though there are no vocals, and usually a soliloquy is a speech or by a main character. But I love how you make the instruments do the talking. So who was kind of the architect of that and came up with that title?
Once again, I have to say Andy. Andy, it sounds as if Andy's paid me to say all this, but he hasn't yet.
Actually,
no, Andy comes up with so much of the stuff in this band, which is another thing that I think is great about it. So that was his idea.
I think I have to correct you there, Dave, because
Was it not?
The title was Tom's, because we had the I don't know if there's like the whispers at the end, so we all I think like that I kind of came up with this idea, is like, why don't we put down whispers of lines of things that have sort of inspired us, whether it be like a political speech or a lyric from a song or whatever. And then Tom came up with the idea of soliloquy which is kind of suits it, So you get these very like distant whispers at the end of the song. And I think that's kind of what the word means. It's something to do with saying things in your mind or something like that, or like if you're rehearsing a play or something. And so Tom gets the credit for that one.
To be fair, Andy,
fair,
I think as I said, we should go soliloquy of something, and you were like, nah, we'll just go soliloquy because.
Right. I'll take full credit then.
Yeah, why not, man? Why not? Why not?
Cheers, Tom.
Yeah, I really like the video. I was wondering like where you guys came up with the concept with the eye and the cobblestones and the graffiti and that sort of thing. Like
different areas of town, and then finally at the end, the lake.
Yeah, that was Dave camping at the end on the beach, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Aye. It was mainly just me walking the dog right where I live. So I thought I'll start taking tons of footage and get around to kind of putting it all together at some point. And that's again, it's sort of meant to be whispers. It's meant to be kind of not everything we say is necessarily obviously spoken. It's written down, or it's on a wall, or it's and so we're hit every day with all these kind of, especially in social media, all this messaging and stuff that goes on. And I think it was kind of, the idea was really to make it like a quite sort of intense, and then almost like nature kind of kicking in, because nature has its own kind of flow, ebb and flow as well, and its own sound. And we're just a part of nature at the end of the day. Sorry to get all hippy trippy about it, but
No, it's
No.
I think you're right in that. I think
you know,
music itself, the music that's created in nature in itself, with wind and birds and everything
yeah,
else. I mean, when the
yeah,
birds come to roost, I've got a woodland at the side of me, and every night, when the magpies and the crows and everything come together, they're screaming at each other, basically talking about what they've been doing. But then it comes to a point where you can only hear like the nightingales start to kick in, and then you get that for about an hour between 10 and 11, and putting all the other birds to sleep. Great. But
yeah.
that chaos though, for the good half hour of all these different kinds of birds just going off their nut. And that's like, I can't pronounce the track title, unfortunately. I sound ridiculous when I try and say it, so I'll leave it to the professionals. But I agree with Andy on that it was a nice touch with the video to leave it on a mellow kind of visual with the water. Because again, water. Look at me getting all hippyish now, you know, like the nature and that, eh? Sake.
I also really love Blue Flash Fanatic. I love that the lyrics, there is no obvious villain. You're kind of left to decide for yourself who's right and who, who does what you have to do and why, was she in that situation and whose fault is it anyway? But I also love the vocal styling that you kind of chose for that. It almost comes across like a performance or like a beatnik type poetry. How did you kind of come up with that kind of delivery? It was like so that it was like a story.
Well, so yeah, it is a story, but it's also not far away from the truth at all. Like, that'll happen in every city around the world. So we sort of had the track, and I had written a story, but then it just became. I became aware that I had to shorten a lot of the lyrics down into almost statements, like one after the other. So to kind of get to really punch the message across, and like it's quite a fast track as well. So you just had to get it right and had to get it in, and that's what we came out with. Yeah.
My favourite line on that track is "On with their stockings and into the night."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that because visually, you can see somebody just like it's not that she's doing it through choice, in the sense of enjoyment. She's got no choice. It's
Right.
something she's got to do. But it's one of my favourite lines in that whole track. And it meant I can go "Rah!" like a dog in that particular part. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a great track.
I know I went through a lot of crap when my ex-husband and I broke up, and he would switch jobs, and no matter where I told him, it would take 3 months to start getting support from him again. And I was very lucky because I always had my dad. I would just call him up and he'd be like, "How much? I'll transfer it." But there's not some people don't have that safety net. I actually wrote letters to congressmen going, "I have this," but there are people who don't. And what do they do? If you don't have somebody that can help you. And of course, I got almost zero response, but I think at the time I even wrote Barack Obama to see what good it did.
Oh, that's right, you
Yeah, I
did.
did.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
America's quite a scary place, with in terms of
Like
you're so close to that. If you lose your job or the healthcare system and all that, what do you do if you don't have the money? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the options are if you become
Yeah, I
really
got
ill
laid
and you
off.
don't, you know.
I got laid off a few months ago, and I jumped through all the hoops and filed for unemployment and everything, and they don't pay you a lot, but they pay you just enough that you can kind of look for a job, you know. And weeks went by and I wasn't getting the money, and they were like, "Well, you know, we're having a shortage of federal workers." So I did the same thing. I just started emailing all the politicians, and the email, the subject line was obnoxious, running out of money. That was how I got their attention, right? So, and weirdly enough, it got fixed. All of a sudden, I started getting my
Yeah.
money.
You got like one lump sum after a
Yeah,
month.
so I think I just had to be like, hello, you know, because that's the thing when you work for the government, it's like I'm sure it's the same where you are.
It's a job title.
Yeah,
Politics are a job title.
they just, you know, they don't people that work for the government would not survive working in the private sector because they don't work nearly as hard. I mean, there's no incentive to do it, you know, you know, they just stamp it and move on, you know. So, you know, normally working in a private sector, you're fine with that. But, you know, once in a while, you actually need something from the government. And sometimes you have to really be obnoxious to get it. You know, it's a
Yeah, but
shame.
they make it really difficult, don't they? Like
That's
that,
the deal.
that's the whole point. I
yeah.
think like if it's too difficult, you're not going to claim it, and they're just going to keep it. So they make it as
That's right.
difficult and they're as awkward as they possibly can be before you're going to get it.
That's
I mean,
right.
our health system's weird as well because although we've got this National Health Service, our politicians, in particular the political party that's in just now, they're very clever and good at passing motions and taking national services and centralising services without the public actually knowing. And like Tom said, it's notoriously difficult to get anywhere unless you know what to say. And then
Yeah.
even at that, you become a bit of a C word. You have to start mildly threatening the people that have these job titles, sorry, to remind them that, you know, we as the people put you there, you have an obligation to me, not the other way around. You know, and although our systems in America and in the UK are based on tax and how much we contribute to the country itself, we also hire people and vote people in that are supposed to make sure that the part we play is then counteracted with the part they're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's really difficult. And when he didn't have a job, I said, well, we'll apply for medical assistance, which is basically for a short period of time, you know, your health care is paid for by the state. We were told no, because I was working, we made too much money.
Right.
Wow.
But that was after I, of course, filled out 300 forms and jumped through all the hoops and went in person visits.
And they still said no, yeah.
And then they just said no, right?
They still said no. And then they showed us this where you could buy your own health insurance for, you know, online. So that's what we had to do until he finally found work again. Yeah. But it was like crazy.
It's just
like, then who qualifies for medical assistance?
But I think it's the same I think overall the message is the same in both countries. Like you said, they make it as difficult as, I mean, they'll take the taxes. That's easy. Taking your money is easy. Getting it back is what they make it most difficult.
Really difficult. I mean, my situation, I'm going to speak on behalf of the health service. I was born with a cleft palate and lip. I don't know if you guys know what that is, a hair lip. No, I don't know. Well, anyway, facial defect. And as somebody that was born with a facial defect, I needed a lot of work done. I got too frightened to get the work done as a teenager and came back to services as an adult. As an adult coming back into a health service that is requiring, you know, I've got to get facial work done, nose jobs and things like that done. I get psychologically assessed on whether I have body dysmorphia and things like that. So even just the hoops that somebody that was born with a facial defect still has to go through certain criteria to ensure that the health service is providing exactly what you're at. Like, I'm not going in and going, you know, I really like Claudia Schiffer's nose. May I have hers, please? It's just, I can't fucking breathe through this. Can you fix it? I mean, it's so difficult. And because, like I said, our health services have been centralised remarkably. And one of the things that have been centralised is people like myself. We used to have a national service for people born like me. It's now centralised to Glasgow. And it's predominantly veered to those under the age of 20. So I'm not very politically correct, so I thought it was perverse and created a whole load of problems for myself. And they were just like, "Don't call us perverts," and it's like, that's not what I'm calling you. Learn English and your words what they mean. But yeah, so it's not just the political part of it. It's everybody at the moment that has a certain status who knows that there's going to be a majority of folk coming to those people to say, "Can you help me, please?" There's a God complex that comes into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents through and then.
I also love if you could unpack this for me. In fact, we were listening to this on the porch last night. I love good dogs will never die. I love that sentiment, of course, being a pet owner, or in our house we say good cats will never die. But I love how it's spun with also this kind of creepy repetition of Tommy's got a gun, Tommy shoots for fun. How do you connect those two kind of themes?
Like the music and the words together, the repetition there. I think the whole Tommy's got a gun thing is really wide open in interpretation. Who's Tommy? Why has he got a gun? Why is he shooting people for fun? What is Tommy up to? Especially here at the minute, there's an absolute lunatic drug addict running about called Tommy Robinson. That's not even called Tommy Robinson. He's called Stephen. But he's hugely successful amongst appear to be young men, and it's not just to make it perfectly clear. It's got nothing to do with him, but it could be him. It could be anybody.
Just to make it clear, he's not getting recognition.
Nah, he's not getting anything. But like, yeah, it's completely open to who it is, and yeah, the whole Tommy's got a gun is just. I mean, what the symbolism of the gun as well is there, because it doesn't have to be an actual gun. Like it could just be dropping bombs. It could be dropping truth bombs. It could be saying things.
It's just basically class.
Yeah, he's just yeah, he's just out there doing his thing, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, I do like it. It does come across a little creepy to me, but in a really good way that makes you kind of think. So I think it's well done like that. But definitely, I would lean towards he's probably up to no good. Maybe because his dog died. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
I would bet that too.
I love how you guys there's moments that make me smile, and the next line kind of punches you right in the gut. Are you consciously kind of trying to put a little spin of sarcasm, a little dark humor in your songs?
Yeah, no, it's just I suppose it's just a reflection of our thoughts, and maybe it's a view into the psyche of ourselves, or even like Scotland as a place. It's just what we're like,
I think Scotland's got a dark humour. Like Scotland's got a little bit of sarcasm and a little bit of that tongue-in-cheek nuance. Oh my god! Like where we can take things seriously, but we have to add a little bit of humorous flavour into it. Otherwise, it could make us crack up. It could make us overly emotional. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I think with Scotland, you have to have some humour to it all, or it's too fucking grim otherwise.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
it's
Yeah.
it's a great defence is being able to laugh at things. No
And
matter how
poke fun
grim
at
they are,
yourself.
you can keep laughing. Sorry?
And to poke fun at self as well, I think
Yeah,
that's important.
I think that's a
We're
good
good at
thing.
that.
It's that old saying, isn't it? If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, before I forget, since we're talking about Scotland, I always ask Scottish and Australian bands this: who gets to claim Bon Scott?
well, he's from Wishaw, isn't he? So he's yours.
He's ours.
There you go. All right.
Plus, they've got a statue, do they not? I
Yeah,
think
they
they've got
do.
a statue.
Yeah.
So that makes it official.
It's official.
It's official.
True. Yeah.
Oh.
I also loved how you described A Great Escape as kind of a song that has two halves, from a personal frustration to more of a political outburst. How did those ideas come together under one song? Were they originally two songs that kind of got put together, or was it always supposed to be that way?
It was. There's a football in it. There's a football analogy in the second verse, if you like. And for me anyway, I was trying to keep it like two halves, like two halves of football there. So yeah, I suppose I did do it deliberately. But it's it's like the first verse is kind of more melancholy and and it just kind of shows how you can go from having like a perfectly fine like happy day to it just being ruined in a heartbeat by outside forces or whatever.
Yeah.
That's true. I love your reference to Who Shot Willie McGee, which prompted us to pull up a documentary.
McRae, isn't it? Willie
McRae.
McRae, right?
Because, I hadn't been really familiar with it, but it sounds like just a conspiracy theorist open. It's so many theories and political overtones. What personally do you think happened to the poor man?
For me personally, I think genuinely think he was shot and somebody robbed his house because he had the documents there, and I think the people that have tried to discredit him have called him a depressed alcoholic, which I mean may or may not be true, but I don't think for just the way that they found him, there's no way. For me personally, there's no way, and that happened in the late 80s, and nobody seems to talk about it anymore. And I think people forgot about Dr. David Kelly as well. Like he was murdered. Willie McRae was murdered. And all of these people were just because they disagreed with you. You don't get to kill people because they disagree with you. It's just that's not cool.
The British state does.
That's true, Dave. That's true. Aye.
They definitely do. And throughout history, they wrote the rule book on that fucking carry on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that harks way, way back beyond what we know as politics. Politics have always had that grip of, you're telling a whole mass of people the opposite of what we're trying to convince them, so we'll just eradicate you and make you look like a liar.
Yeah.
I guess if I think about it, it's been going on since before Julius Caesar, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Right, but
yeah.
I love lyrics that make me go look for documentaries, and this one did. So we don't get that very
Well,
often, you know.
That's good.
There's got to be
that's
documentaries
good.
about this, you know.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's good.
Bonnie Prince Rob, that also made me look it up. He's got a pretty dynamic live stream. How did you come to work with him?
I like that you described him as having what was it, a dynamic live stream. Oh, he's gonna love that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Brilliant.
Yeah. Ended
Go
up
on,
having
Andy.
to go look that one up too.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
when we on the first album we've got a song called Paper Kites. So he did this really great video about the Edinburgh Festival years ago.
Oh,
A
yeah, yeah.
pretty cynical take on the Edinburgh Festival, which is worth checking out if you get a chance. But
Yeah.
so we kind of sampled some of the lines off that on this track Paper Kites, and then so it was coming up to the coronation day with the royal family and all the rest of it, and we're like, we should do a song. I was thinking, who could we get? So obviously Bob jumped out as being, so we kind of I think I'd been in touch anyway to go, oh, by the way, we sampled your some of your lines and stuff, and kind of kept in touch, and then just asked him to if he'd be up for doing this track, and then it was quite funny because we had no idea about his lyrics or anything like that until we actually went into the studio, and we were just like, this is mental, it's brilliant, and
Yeah.
so I mean, I drove him through to Glasgow to record it, and he was doing kind of rehearsing it in the car. So I had a wee heads up, and I was going, man, that's brilliant, you know. So it was,
Yeah.
Good.
and when it kind of came together, it's a kind of, there's a lot of humor to that track as well, you know. It's not, but yeah. So that's kind of how it came about. But he is, and he also put the video together for Gardy Lou, and did a wee kind of short video for the 24 track on the last album as well. So yeah, it was great to work with him in that way. So
Yeah, I
And he
love
is pretty
24.
dynamic as
Very
a character.
dynamic.
Yeah,
Dynamic.
he's
Okay.
pretty dynamic as a human being.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome.
I was love 24. Let you know you guys are responsible. It's on my running playlist now, so I have it in headphones. So it's your guys' fault as I'm running through Baltimore, so sometimes going dead, you know. Making people
That's
look
good.
at me very strangely.
She does. We run together, and she'll just suddenly yell out "dead," and I know what song she's listening to.
Yeah.
I love how you picked is it Majamanana? I love that too, how rhythmic that is. And her story. What kind of got you like interested in her story? And I think it's brilliant to pick out one person because it makes the tragedy and war so personal.
but it was Bob. That was Bob's lyrics, and I think that was the idea, was to make it you know, it's kind of easy to kind of do it in a predictable way, and I think as you say, it's much more personal. It makes you kind of relate to, and I think probably why, or I'm pretty sure what he said was it was good to kind of also point out, you know, there's this idea that people in the Middle East, they're all kind of in abject poverty and all this kind of, like, you know, she is a real person, and she was a graphic designer and stuff, and she was obviously into creating things and stuff. So I think it was kind of to kind of make that relate to people maybe more in the West, you know, that people are not just all the same in the Middle East. There's a lot of very clever people and a lot of very creative people, and I think you can relate to one person's story maybe more than you can to just saying something's wrong. it's through your lyrics or whatever. So, but yeah, that was kind of Bob's lyrics, and then Lindsay, we hadn't actually met Lindsay before she came in. I just spoke to her on the phone, and so the idea at the start was it was just to kind of when me and Lindsay were speaking was to create this kind of
Grief.
feeling of loss, and Lindsay pulled a blinder, this idea that she was kind of mimicking the mother of Maya Mana, and
Mum, the
the son,
nana,
yeah.
yeah, all our
So
family,
Lindsay,
everyone, the
yeah,
community losing somebody.
yeah, just that kind of brutal kind of scream, that sound of loss, basically. To with the intro. It's quite a weird song. It's got so many vibes to it in a lot of ways. So that was the kind of, yeah, I think that was, be fair to say, that was the general idea behind it.
Yeah.
It's got a
I
weird kind
kind
of disco sort of vibe to it as well, which is
No, I like
kind of
it. It's one
strange.
of my favourite. When I was invited to do that track, and me and Andy were talking about how to bring an intro into it, for me, I felt really excited to be able to make lots and lots of people sound like they were all in one space. And then knowing that when we turned up live to do that track, and it'll be me standing with my pigtails in, I just thought that was like, I don't know, I'm a mum, so I felt really proud from a mum's perspective, being able to express how a mother would feel if she lost her child, especially under the circumstances. It wasn't through
Really, really
you know,
well. And
illness or anything like that.
it's full of angst, but it's also really eerie and just goosebump inducing the way that you do it. It comes off so well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good. High
And
five.
and on the other side of that, it's a very danceable track. You could almost hear them sampling that, at a nightclub, and
Yeah.
as
Arena.
it's kind of wild how you have these dark, stark lyrics and yet this beat that'll make you move. It's a really interesting combination.
Very
Can you
good.
Yeah, it
speak
was
to how
weird.
it came together?
It was kind of weird when we were doing it because it was quite a difficult one to, like as Dave was saying, live it's a bit raw and it's a bit kind of more rough edged or whatever, but we kind of wanted to make it listenable, or not, I wouldn't say commercial's not the right word, but kind of almost make it a bit more subtle than just kind of straight up anger or all the way through. So I think it was probably the most difficult one to kind of mix and sort of, as Lindsay was saying, it was great. She ended up putting all these vocal tracks down, and kind of we decided just to keep quite a few of them in because they all kind of merged together. But yeah, no, it was great, yeah. If that's the right word to describe it.
It was a great day of recording as well. Because I turned up, nobody in the band had met me. Bob knew who I was, but nobody else did. So when I rocked up round the corner, the guys were looking at me like, I think you're lost, Hen. It was such a great day of recording. It was lovely just to. Everyone was so welcoming and so just so fucking laid back and these lyrics are pretty hard, heavy hitting, truthful, in your heart lyrics. So to meet people who are actually really down to earth and real was very refreshing. But they didn't think anything. I'm just saying that, but their faces looked like they wanted to give me directions to, the nearest youth centre.
But you won them over anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so we play a game on the show. Normally, if it's one person, they get 5 questions. Since there's 4 of you, I want you each to pick 2 numbers between 1 and 100 that will correspond to random questions you will answer. So, Lizzie, you want to go first?
All right, okay. I'll go for number 3 and 69. Fuck it.
All right. Andy?
I'll
Give me
go
two
for the
numbers.
mystical 23 and
Yeah.
7.
7. All right. Dave?
Good choice. I'm going to go for 13 and
I was going to have
77.
that one.
I'm feeling lucky, Andy. I feel I can risk it.
You said 13 and
And 77. Punk rock.
Okay.
all right, Tom, you're up.
27 and 71.
71. All right, well, let's start with Lindsay. You picked 3. Have you ever tried to learn another language?
Yeah. I tried to learn French. Now, remember I said before about having a cleft palate and lip, right? So I already had a list, and learning French, there was a lot of spittle, and I quickly learned that it wasn't a language I should be learning. So, yeah, there's that answer.
Yeah.
Well, they made us pick a language to take in high school and college, and I picked French. Could I speak a word of it today? Probably not.
I can say bonjour. That's
Yeah, bon, and
No.
a color
and
which I
bonbon.
believe is what time is it?
How do you
That's
say
all
it?
I
Say it
know.
again. How do you say what time is it?
A color I
I
think
couldn't even attempt that.
let's see. 69. Have you ever accidentally walked into the wrong restroom?
Oh God, yeah. Not accidentally either. Fucking hell. Let's be fucking honest. Jeez.
I think I've
Yes.
non-accidentally done that at some shows because
Right.
the women's room is always long and the guys are all going out back and peeing. So there's no one in
Yeah.
line for the guys. I just run in there real quick. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. The cubicles are always spotless as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Andy was next. 23. What is your favorite flower?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's brilliant. I was not expecting that.
I'll go for hydrangea.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
What's
Yeah.
the one you have tattooed on you?
Oh, dianthus. I have a dianthus
She has a
here.
dianthesis tattoo. Yeah.
I love them because they're very hard to kill. I used to be a horrible gardener, but I've gotten better.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
All right, and you picked 7. Have you ever bartended? And if not, do you think you would be a good one?
I haven't, and I probably just no, I wouldn't be a good person. Got no tolerance for people.
That's the one.
Putting up with people is a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
All right, Dave's up. Have you ever walked into a glass door or wall?
I've walked into a wall. I don't think I've ever walked into a glass door. Definitely walked into a wall. More than once I've walked into a wall.
Just last week.
3 times today, Andy. No, I've definitely walked into a wall. Not on purpose, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
And then you pick 77. Which
77.
task around the house do you procrastinate the most doing?
Oh, tidying, just general tidying. How quickly stuff that you put down one day can be there 6 months later.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's incredible. I put stuff down and just so quickly just get used to that's where it is. I've
Yeah.
got a subwoofer speaker in the middle of my hallway at the moment that's been there for 3 weeks. And it's just in the way. It's completely in the way, and I just walk around it. And it's like, why don't you just move it? It's like, well, I can walk around it. So,
I like that you acknowledge it though.
Honestly, I do my head in. I like, just fucking move it, put it away.
Yeah.
No, I'll just walk around it. So
Isn't this fun?
general tidying. I would like to say that when it comes to doing the dishes, I am exceptionally good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's good.
When it comes to doing general tidying, I'm pretty bad. But I will say this, see when I've done it, I'm like, this is much better.
See, that's what you
And
have in
I-
common with Gene
This
Copeland.
works.
When we talked to him, he said he was great at dishes.
Yeah, he did.
So,
Yeah, she had two totes of clothes, winter clothes. Asked me, could you please take them down the basement, right? Simple, right? Like you said, a month.
oh
I
wow.
walked past it 10,000 times and just never thought to do it, you know. It's just the
I
way
mean,
it is.
I didn't want to be a
in all
nag,
honesty,
so I'd yell at the cat about the totes, you know?
I did eventually do it, but it took a month.
Yeah.
You know.
I find that tactic, if you shout at the cats, then other
Yeah.
people tend to do things for you.
I would just be like, Vladimir, you were supposed to move these totes, rather than yell at him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Tom was up next. What's a fear that you had as a child that you still have as an adult?
Snakes.
Oh,
Terrified of
Snakes,
snakes. Terrified of snakes.
I'm like that as well, snakes. Yeah.
why are you scared of
handle.
snakes?
Honestly, it's probably because I watched Indiana Jones
Oh,
when I was too young,
Yeah.
and he
Oh,
falls into that big pit of snakes, and I was terrified.
Oh really?
Aye.
Oh mate.
I
just think it's
have to
funny.
say, I watched that movie again like last year, and it holds up so well. Like that scene when like the Wrath of God is coming, they did it's one of the most amazing special effects, and it doesn't look cheesy at all. It doesn't look outdated. It's really something. I mean,
Figure with all
Yeah,
those
great
snakes
film.
in that shot, that was well before they could, do CGI and all that. So
Yeah.
they were
they're all
down.
real. I saw a documentary on it when I was a boy when it came out. It was on regular TV, and it said that they had like, I don't know, 3,000 snakes from the local zoo, and it wasn't nearly enough. Like they had to go out and get like 6,000 more.
You're
get
devastating Tom right now. Tom's
Oh,
like, fuck. Oh
Tom,
my
Tom's
god,
gonna jump off
what?
the call. Yeah.
I thought they were fake.
No, they were real. Yeah.
You picked 71. Would you rather spend a day going to the circus or the zoo?
The zoo to see the snakes.
Eyeglass.
No,
So we can
the
mock
zoo.
them.
And I'll tell you why. Because when I was a little boy, about 3 years old, I got taken to the circus, and they picked my father out of the crowd to get shaved by an elephant.
Oh my.
And I've never forgive them since. So it's the zoo. It's the zoo. At least if you go to the zoo and there's an elephant at the zoo, it's no going to like try and shave your face. So there you go.
Wow.
They have a thing at the Baltimore Zoo every year. They give the at around Halloween, they give the elephants pumpkins and just let them stomp on them.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
They make a great, and then they eat them. They make a great mess.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not the elephants, man. You don't eat the elephants.
Surely not.
Eat the elephant with pumpkins.
Let them have a last wee stomp about on the pumpkins, and then we'll
release them.
we'll leave them.
We've got a little tiny zoo through here in Livingston, and we had lions that escaped from there a couple of years ago, wandering about the village. Everyone was shitting themselves. It's big cats, just
Wow.
Yeah, give them some tuna.
You got your catnip in that. You're like, come on, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, imagine. That'd be amazing, right?
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. A
They
big
just
cat in a
bite
cat.
your arm off. It's like, what's this fucking catnip bite?
I'd still be up for it. Like, come on.
So I saw like you guys had up on YouTube kind of a live action show shot. What's kind of the crowd's typical reactions to your set? Or do they mosh? Do they nod? Do they stand like this?
Did they run screaming?
Kind of, I would say kind of nodding at most, but I think generally they're sort of, I'd like to say enthralled rather than bored. No, genuinely, I think folk are a bit like, what the fucking hell is this? In a kind of good way, you know, in a good way. But no, I don't think I've seen much movement in any audiences. I don't know if it's the sort of thing you would dance to. It's a bit, the whole experience, I think, is probably quite grim for people, you know.
I don't know, man. I jump at the side of you when I'm on the stage. I'm like, I fucking love this track. Come on, kids.
No, quite right, quite right. But
Oh, I'm not.
I think there's so much going on that people are a bit sort of like, man, this is a lot to be taking in.
Yeah.
That's what I assume. They're maybe just like, this is boring.
I
Who
think
knows?
genuinely, I think the audience that you guys pull are totally engrossed with the performance.
Yeah,
Fuck I
that's
man.
what I like to
These are
think.
excellent live. Like you genuinely are an absolute privilege from my perspective, to be involved with. But as an audience perspective, these are phenomenal live. But these are really fucking tight. You know what I mean? So yeah, the audience are probably going, "Fuck, why are they not on the main stage?"
Yeah.
Right.
You're right,
I
lads.
do remember when we played at Summer Hall. We were doing the Great Escape, and I said the line, "But I do like Fenians," and I just heard this sharp intake of breath
Oh.
from a woman that was just in front of me. I just heard this, which was quite entertaining.
Awesome.
That's when you know
who-
your audience.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite bands to share a stage with, and what makes good chemistry to have a band share a stage with you guys?
Oh. Who have we shared a stage with? I'm going to have to think about this. We did a gig, was it last year? A band called the Cowboy Hunters, who I thought were pretty good. Like a two-piece that were pretty interesting, like playing to some kind of samples and swapping instruments, which for a two-piece is quite something. I'm trying. Who else have we played with? Degrassi, I thought were really
Degrassi,
good.
yeah.
It's like a kind of
Degrassi,
long-running
brilliant, yeah.
Edinburgh band.
What do they call them?
Uh,
The what?
Degrassi.
Degrassi.
Yeah.
Degrassi.
Like Degrassi High.
Degrassi High. Yeah.
Got it.
They're very good live.
If
They've been
you
going like a long
put-
time, but I suppose ideally it's people you get on with, and there's a good vibe and stuff. Not just when you're playing, but beforehand and all that. It's good to play with people you like and
Yeah.
share the same kind of ethos, or making it a good night, basically. Like is really and it's hard to do that when you get bands that there's one band standing in one corner, one band in another, and nobody's speaking at the sound check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's cool to do it with folk as similar, that you get on with. And have a
I think
good
it's good when you've got people that are fans of you and you're fans of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a good night.
All right, so if you could put Gutterblood in the opening slot for any band existing or in the past, who would you be on the bill with?
Alive or dead, doesn't matter. The sky's the limit.
Resurrections are fine.
Yes.
Resurrections are fun. Said that to Jeebus.
I suppose in a
That's
way
a good question.
the gig we've got coming up in we're playing with a band called Dead Bob, who were in No Means No, who were big sort of influences on, well, certainly me and Dave. We loved them back in the day. So, and they're kind of, I suppose it's cool because they're not really like, you can't really pigeonhole them. Do you know what I mean? So I think they're not far off one of the bands that, yeah, it's kind of like an ideal night in a lot of ways. But
no, I think it is kind of perfect audience for us. People that are, into a bit of variation, don't want just the same thing all the way through. It's going to be a good one, definitely. For myself, I have to say it's so predictable. Andy will be shaking his head, but I would love Gutterblood to play with Hawkwind. I think it would be such a great match. It would be an audience that would actually sit and take whatever we threw at them and be able to deal with it. But it's the most predictable answer. The Hawkwood are my favourite band, so it's really predictable that I say that. But it would be great. Really would.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been great. We hope to get you over to the States at some point. I think you would fit in great to our Maryland Doom Fest. Probably not the Death Fest as much, but the Doom Fest, it's all heavy. It's all crazy.
Yeah.
There was one guy, he had a violin in the band with this bass. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I have to say the scary thing about me working with the boys is the last gig I'd done with them, they were like, "Oh, you can go up as like part of the support." And it's just me and a guitar. And I was really, really nervous about that because it's their audience. And I thought, oh shit. And it went down really well. It actually went down really well. I was really, really quite pleased with that. So to answer the question that you asked before, who would I want to be on the stage with would be Gutterblood. As a support act. No, as a support act, I was like a pig in shit. I really was. It was just totally my audience. Like I kind of go between Janis Joplin and Joni Mitchell kind of vibe. And Gutterblood just totally suited me as the headline to me sitting there with my wee guitar and pigtails and shit. So yeah, that would be my answer to the last question.
I remember I saw this interview with Robert Trujillo, and he was talking about he went to some benefit and he was seated between Lemmy and Joni Mitchell. And they were both smoking like chimneys. So he was like, right in the middle of it, right? And then of course she called him Lenny. She didn't know his name. And he eventually, Lemmy's like, "So Joni, what are the chords to Court and Spark? I could never figure that out." Just such an interesting pairing,
Yeah.
I always love that story.
Joni Mitchell's a big influence for me, to be fair, as a writer. I liked her style, but then I liked Janis Joplin's act. I liked her vocals. I liked that she could go really quiet and then be so big and so loud.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite thing. Yeah, I like that bit.
Very cool.
Yeah, we like.
Let's not forget the Scottish. What's her name? I've forgotten her name. Janis Joplin, the Scottish Janis Joplin, Maggie Bell.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh, nice.
We love this band out of Canada called Bywater Call, and the lead vocalist for them really kind of is very Janis-esque in way. But the band itself, they have a horn section and they're very bluesy, but her voice. Woo.
Yeah, really very much like Janis. Yeah.
I like that. I think there's not enough female vocals that can do that kind of Joni Janis thing now. It's all that they all kind of have a what do you call it, a pop voice. Yeah. There's not many that can go from operatic to screamo.
Yeah.
I do that because that's me kidding on. I know what I'm talking about.
Well, Bywater Call, they're kind of like you guys. Like they're the band that should not exist in 2026. You know what I mean? They don't wear costumes. They have a full horn section. They drive around and play like on a Wednesday night in a van. You know what I mean? Like they're not algorithm friendly. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same concept. So
nice. Yeah, nice.
Oh,
nobody dresses like a squirrel.
Guys out there on the road someday, love to get everyone a pint in person.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll show you our secret beer hiding spot.
Yeah. I just can't
do you guys, I just wanted to ask, do you guys know a bar called the Sidebar? And is that
the Sidebar?
Yeah. Is it? I think it's still around. Yeah, in Baltimore. Yeah.
It's still going. Yeah. I played there years ago. I just wanted to know if you'd been there.
Yeah.
I think they filmed The Wire there or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
I bet everyone says, "Oh, you're from Baltimore, The Wire."
Yeah. That's everybody says. They had an event at this. It was either the Sidebar or the Autobar in the early 2000s. I can't remember, but you were fishing for rats off the roof. I remember, and whoever caught the most rats won something. Yeah, but that's very Baltimore.
Is there still the really weird museum in Baltimore? It was like, I can't remember the name, but it had really, really bizarre exhibits.
The Visionary Art Museum is one.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was really odd, really weird stuff. Like
that was a dream, Dave.
That was those mushrooms.
Is this a dream too, or is this real?
Oh no, it's the morels are kicked in the morels.
Yeah,
that's what I remember about Baltimore was this museum, and it was a museum of like odd curiosities and everything.
Wow.
Nah, maybe it was only there for that one day
Can't
and then gone.
I love that Dave's just totally committed to this. No, it was there. Might have been there for the day, but I
I'll
went
tell you,
there.
it was there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I'll
promise.
find it.
I'm promising myself it was there.
Falling on deaf ears.
Jeff, here's one.
Stride wedding with the back of beyond. Few combinations of words inspire instant dread. Chainsaw Massacre, for instance, is practically the dictionary definition of nightmare. Then there's dry wedding. Different kinds of horror, same sinking feeling.
I'd much rather have Chainsaw Massacre.
The mere thought of making small talk with Uncle Al and Aunt Lulu, sitting through a string of speeches packed with inside jokes you don't get, and eventually being coaxed to the dance floor for the electric slide, all without the assistance of any socially lubricating beverages, is enough to induce cold sweats and a sudden desire for prescription-strength antidepressants.
The real difference is that Chainsaw Massacre is thankfully an astronomically unlikely event. A dry wedding, most of us have either survived one firsthand or know someone with tales of 3-hour receptions fueled by weak coffee and polite golf claps. Fortunately, Portland's gothic urban post-punk cowboys dry wedding offer an experience that's infinitely more satisfying than matrimonial sans cocktail variety. On their third full length, The Back of Beyond, the quartet delivers 7 new tracks, most stretched from the 5 to 7 minute range, with 2 shorter pieces in the 1 to 3 minute range, just as much bite as the longer ones, that transport you to a place that might exist somewhere between the Oregon wilderness or perhaps deep within your own psyche. Either way, The Back of Beyond makes the middle of nowhere feel positively suburban.
The last band I reviewed that saddled up with spaghetti western twang was Australia's Jack Harlan and the Dead Crows. Dry Wedding keeps that windswept cinematic feel but swaps the Sabbath-esque fuzz for serrated angular guitar work. The psychedelic blues is gone, replaced by a brooding post-punk darkness where the bass carries much of the album's heft. It's a different kind of heavy cowpoke. One of my favorites right away was Sure as a Gun. It whooshes in like a dry wind rolling, echoing through a mountain pass. During the verses, Tom Fuller's drums settle into a sultry pulse of snare, hi-hat snatches, and thumping tom rolls. Gerald Green's guitar is a high-pitched, punchy, meandering melody with a touch of reverb. Davy Fairchild's vocals are full-throated and deep, delivered with a Danzig-like dramatic flair. He never reaches full hysterics, but sings with the constant suggestion that he could at any moment.
I'm the kind of guy that could.
Eerie synths drift through the mix like distant metal being filed, adding curious swishes and ghostly texture. Chadwick Ferguson's bass steals the spotlight, heading into each chorus. Its seductive groove is sultry as a burlesque performer slowly peeling off a pair of opera gloves. Fairchild occasionally punctuates the atmosphere with a stifled shriek, while Fuller's kick drum ratchets up the tension until it's almost tangible. Near the song's end, the drums fall silent, leaving behind a lonely, tinny, dust-coated guitar line with unmistakable spaghetti western twang. Then the kick drums return at a shuffling gait, Green's guitar line growing agitated before settling once more into the song's original formation of echoing pulses, hypnotic shuffle, and Fairchild's mournful laments.
Another standout is Moths. Lyrically, it centers on moths that aren't external monsters. Instead, they're internal flaws, intrusive thoughts, anxiety, rage, self-loathing, or I'll take mental illness for 500, Mr. Trebek. The lyrics describe larvae quietly feeding beneath the surface until they finally emerge, making the song feel like someone watching themselves become the very person they never wanted to be. The lines, I'm not always a walking plague, I often lack self-restraint, babbling when it's your turn to speak, cackling as I vibrate and pace, feel intensely personal and painfully authentic. They also deserve a place on the universal things not to do at your next debutante ball checklist. Musically, Moths opens with stunning legato violin strokes from guest collaborator Andrea Morgan, a member of the black metal band Excellensis. The mournful strings immediately establish an atmosphere of unease, played over an ominous synth note that hangs out there like a prey in wait. Morgan also hails from Portland, a city where a rare sunbreak is celebrated with the enthusiasm of a bank holiday. From there, the full band pounces in. Ferguson's bass shimmers through the tinted chords that rebound like unleashed black kickballs, while the guitars carve out a dusty, western-tinged melody that moves in a quick, slow pattern. Fuller keeps the drums restrained, but restless, alternating snare accents beat with steady kick patterns and a mid-tempo pulse. For Chow delivers an impassioned, low guttural vocal that carries a palpable sense of strain.
As the performance grows more frantic, the guitars mirror that escalation, tightening and feeling more like a wail in response. Between verses, the arrangement briefly tightens, Morgan's violin reemerged in haunting vibrato-laced lines, while Fuller pushes back into faster rolls before moving back into the controlled chaos of the main groove. As the track approaches its close, the guitars thin into occasional chimes, while the drums slowly accelerate into heavier, more deliberate strikes, building a creeping tension reminiscent of the telltale heart. Virchow repeats, "There's nothing left," with increasing desperation, each iteration more unraveling than the last. The drums eventually fracture into quiet, rapid bursts, and the guitars warp and bend as if pulled through a Doppler shift. It's the kind of sonic distortion that can make even an ice cream truck jingle feel creepy. Let's play a clip. This is Moths.
Even from a distance it's starting to show. Please know that I've tried to spare you this pride. But fatal flaws will level marks. Easy at noon until they come to light.
I think my favorite track is Shifting Wilderness, whose title alone seems like some kind of primeval notion of the forest as a central character. The kick drum of Fuller pounds out thick strikes, locking up with Ferguson's bass low end like black smoke signals as Green's guitar sidewinds hypnotically like a rattlesnake. When Virchow enters, the vocal tone cuts through with a bleak intensity that makes even Peter Steele sound almost lightened by comparison. The groove initially holds back tight and controlled before the kick drum drives everything into motion. Then Green's guitar breaks loose in a grinding, repetitive figure that drags against the rhythm like a didgeridoo vibrating. By the chorus, the guitars shift into a slower, plaintive, melodic rise, while a lighter female vocal layers in above it, adding a ghosted counterweight.
As the track moves towards its peak, everything accelerates. The sense of urgency tightens like a jockey went for the left-hand whip. Guitars turn to fast tremolos, vocals stack and blur into each other, and the drums push into full momentum with sharp hi-hat work and snare strikes hitting at a frightened canter. In the final stretch, the melody returns into a slower, oscillating pattern. The bass growl resurfaces underneath, the drums continue their rapid pulse, and the guitars briefly soften into mournful, suspended notes before morphing into an industrial buzz. The track gradually unspools, fading not to black, but to feedback. This album does contain catchy hooks, but the real secret sauce that keeps pulling you back runs much deeper than that. It slowly wraps itself around you with repeated listens, revealing new details hidden in its dense arrangements and dark exposed lyricism that lingers long after the record ends. Fans of boundary-blurring darkness like Typo Negative, Swans, or even spaghetti western soundtracks will find plenty to sink into here, somewhere between doom, post-punk, and experimental heavy rock, staring into the fire and thinking too long about it. The lone figure on this album cover, seated in a canyon gazing into a campfire, begins to tell the story of what lies within. He appears a wanderer in that distant back of beyond, drifting without clear purpose, captured in a moment of rest. The firelight warms him, but it also exposes him.
There is no shelter, no tent, no companions, only temporary comfort in a place that offers no permanence. It can feel like a barren inner landscape too, a place where you are left alone with your own inner thoughts. A sinking either way, feeling akin to being stranded with relatives you barely know, in itchy clothes, and no liquid courage to be had to get you to say yes when your jitterbug-loving uncle asks you to dance. And somewhere in that awkward room, just remember, a well-stashed flask just may get you through the affair, shared with some select others. Not all heroes wear capes. Okay, Deaf Ears 2 is the new album from Khemmis. Khemmis. The idea of a band named after an ancient Egyptian city took me back to the CGI orgy mummy movies from the late 90s with Brendan Fraser. Up until that point, my only knowledge of scarab beetles came from the old Journey records. I had no idea they were swarming flesh-eating monster bugs. I wonder if Jonathan Cain or Steve Smith called each other up after seeing it. Dude, why didn't we think of that for our videos? Flesh-eating monster scarabs would have been way better than Steve doing bad dance moves behind a warehouse. We've got to stop thinking with our mullets here. I also remember having a major man crush on the dude that played Ardeth Bay, that gorgeous long-haired head of the Magi. When he wasn't kicking ass and taking names in that jet black robe, he would drop the greatest lines like, "You may have created a chain reaction that will bring about the apocalypse." Yeah, well, don't forget I was the one that remembered extra toilet paper, so there.
Khemmis is the fifth full-length album from the Denver doom metal four-piece of the same name, a moniker that I discovered last month, much to our collective delight. It's 8 tracks of classy, hook-heavy doom metal with excellent production and thrilling vocals, courtesy of guitarist Ben Hutcherson and Phil Pendergast. This is epic stuff that I would file next to such distinguished monikers as Solitude Eternos and Solstice UK. Yup, it's that good. Doom, yes, but this is a band unafraid to experiment with faster tempos. Gilded Chambers kicks off with an up-tempo riff hurried along by the stick flash of drummer Zach Coleman. Fans of our Decay show will be pleased to hear he also plays drums for Black Curse. Remember them? Super satanic, drenched in blood, wrapped in change? Yeah, those guys. The track settles into a fantastic flash rockin' riff. After about a minute, and soon we're treated to those gorgeous vocals offering up a heady harmony. Her obelisk of solace pulls me forth time after time. Yeah, why fix the shower curtain so we wouldn't get mildew? Seriously, the combination of whip-smart tempo changes, majestic guitar interplay, and of course, those vocals are a treat that puts this album in serious contention for our end-of-the-year best. Let's play a clip. This is Beneath the Scythe. The clip you just heard is Beneath the Scythe, a slower-paced epic that clocks in around 6 minutes and boasts one of the disc's best galloping riffs, perfectly accompanied by clever lyrics. In Durham fields he takes them, beneath the scythe he breaks them. Turns out Durham is a specific type of hard spring wheat. Going to the dictionary for a metal lyric. What is this, a farewell to kings? The song moves between a slower riff pattern frosted with chill bump-inducing lyrics and a harder charging tempo, packed with stained glass color guitar textures, even moving through some clean guitar patterns before plunging back into the heavy once again.
Grandiose, stunning doom with touches of traditional metal and some of the best vocal performances we've heard all year. Make sure you get over to Khemmis' Bandcamp page, snag a copy of this masterpiece before they're all gone. If not, the dire consequences of your lack of action could result in plagues and swarms of locusts. All right, maybe not, but you'd be missing out one hell of a great band. And by the way, you're welcome for the extra bag of ice I brought, buddy boy. Let's hear Invocation of the Dreamer. Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is the new EP from Borracho, Eternos. Borracho is a Spanish word for drunkard, and it got me thinking about all the great shows that I can't remember due to excessive alcohol consumption. For example, an all-acoustic set from Squeeze in 1991 at a gorgeous vintage movie theater. Unfortunately, an excess of rum and white wine had us silently convincing ourselves that Elvis Costello was waiting backstage. Hey, it could happen. After attempting to find Elvis not once but twice, we were promptly booted from the venue. I remember hearing a fantastic version of Take Me, I'm Yours fading behind us as we were tossed into the parking lot. Several months later, the same thing happened at what would be the final Pixies tour with Kim Deal at a small hall on a college campus. As much as we loved their music, we were much more interested in the flasks we had smuggled into the theater. I vaguely remember the slowed down version of Wave of Mutilation, but before I knew it, we were out back harassing the roadies, hoping one of them could put in a good word for us to Black Francis to get back in. I'm telling you, if my friend's sister hadn't shown up to take us home when she did, we would have been going for a ride in a paddy wagon that night.
Which brings us to the new EP of covers from the DC stoner metal trio Borracho Eternos, consisting of 5 songs in about 20 minutes. These guys put in one hell of a show at Maryland Doomfest this year, and the performance demanded further investigation of their back catalog. I'm not usually one for covers albums unless it's something like Garage Days Revisited, but Borracho show a level of sophistication and taste in these particular selections that cannot be denied. Each song packed with fuzz-drenched riffs, guitar harmonies, and plenty of groovy stickwork, courtesy of drummer Mario Trubiano. Their take on Spirit Caravan's excellent Fang from 1999's epic Jug Full of Sun kicks things off, and vocalist-guitarist Steve Fisher does Scott Weinrich proud from both a riff and vocal standpoint. The creeping stutter step of a tempo sounds fantastic, and Fisher is able to conjure all manner of howling guitar madness like a true slow hand. Let's play a clip. This is Fang.
Black steals the lights, spread my wings to take flight. The holiness is what you need to stop the world. Oh, I'm sucker clean.
Another great selection comes in the form of the Helicopters classic from the high visibility album, A Heart Without a Home. This trio slows the track down and cranks up the fuzz, effectively transforming it from quirky garage rock to doomy dirge to marvelous effect. Finally, there's 29, a cut from the band I haven't thought about in years. The instrumental trio Karma to Burn, who felt not only were lyrics not necessary, neither were titles, as every song is simply given a number.
Really weird band, yeah.
Again, a choice like this keeps a covers EP interesting. This particular track packed with stops, starts, odd turnarounds, and lots of wah-drenched lead guitar, which Fisher delivers in spades.
So there you have it. I think the last time I enjoyed a covers album this much was Red Cross's Teen Babes from Montesanto. I did catch them live back in the 90s and somehow managed to make it through the show without barging backstage and demanding to see Des Cadena. Miracles will never cease, you know? Let's hear 29. There we go. I think. If we do enough beer jokes, I'm wondering if maybe we should just come up with a few more. I don't know. So
There's so many goofy ass beer commercials. We had others on there that we didn't have time for all of them. That's how many there are.
I didn't even think about like Super Bowl commercials. I didn't even think about that because we had like 3 pages of stuff, you know.
We were
sure if
going more for the classics.
Yeah. Especially like when we were young, when we weren't beer drinking age yet, and we just didn't question it. And just like, oh well, all right, so that's the beer that you drink when you're having lobster. It's horrible.
Maybe it's the Natural Light, a taste for food. Sounded like it was going to eat your food.
I knew it was shit beer because my grandparents just drank it. My grandparents never paid more than like $10 for a case of beer. They actually had generic beer back then. You remember that? It just said beer on it. It was with a white label. Yeah, that was the thing, people. Yeah.
My grandparents as well were into red, white, and blue, and
yeah, the worst of the worst. Yeah.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to the gang from Gutterblood for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Jens Kembren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 4 artwork, courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ears band include Khemmis, Dry Wedding, and Borracho. All content 2026, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Great idea I have for Voodoo Ranger. Voodoo Ranger, the beer with the taste for square dancing.
Fuck. God damn it.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.